which is correct, Hanukkah or Chanukah. Today, we're going to talk about the 11 most interesting things about Hanukkah. This Jewish holiday is a special time to remember the Maccabee reopening the temple in Jerusalem in 165 BC. It's a celebration of the miracle that happened there and the story of how the Maccabee fought for religious freedom. But before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of our new videos. So let's get started. 11. What is Hanukkah? Thousands of years ago, in a place called Jerusalem, a powerful king named Antiochus invaded the land. He tried to force the Jewish people who lived there to worship Greek gods that they didn't believe in. He did this by destroying their holy temple and all the sacred objects inside it, including the menorah. However, a small group of people called the Maccabees fought against the king and his large army, and they won. The Maccabees returned to their destroyed temple and tried to restore their sacred menorah. They noticed that it had hardly any oil left to burn the candles, only enough for one day. They lit it anyway, and instead of lasting only one day, it burned for 8 whole days, which they saw as a miracle. Do you know what this old tale is about? It's the story that began the holiday of Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a holy celebration for Jewish people who follow the religion of Judaism. It commemorates Jewish people's struggle for their religious freedom. 10. A Hanukkah is a menorah specific to Hanukkah. Menorahs in Hanukkah, it's a bit like a rectangle and a square. All Hanukkah are menorahs, but not all menorahs are Hanukkah. Confused? A 7-branched candlestick is called a menorah. Is this where you put your Hanukkah? It looks nice. It has been used as a religious sign since the time of Moses and the first temple in Jerusalem. The Hanukkah, which is also called the Hanukkah menorah, is a version of the symbol that was changed to remember the miracle of Hanukkah. It has 8 branches that hold candles and a 9th branch that is either higher or lower and holds the shamash, which is a candle used to light the other 8 candles. As Hanukkah has become more popular over the years, the term Hanukkah menorah has been shortened to menorah. This is because the Hanukkah has become more important in culture than the traditional menorah. Boom! 9. Enjoy the chocolate coins. The Yiddish word for coins, gelds, have been traditionally given as gifts during Hanukkah celebrations for centuries. However, in recent times, chocolate gelds have become more popular. The origins of chocolate gelds can be traced back to the 1920s, where it is believed that America's Loft Candy Company first began producing them. 8. No mention in the Jewish Bible. Hanukkah is the only Jewish holiday not mentioned in the Jewish Tanakh, also known as the Hebrew Bible. Additionally, it is not discussed in the Talmud, which is the primary source of Jewish religious law and the central text of Rabbinic Judaism. 7. Olive oil is an important part of the celebration. Now 44 candles are used to keep the Hanukkah's flames going. But in the past, the menorahs were lit with the purest olive oil. This was an important part of the miracle of Hanukkah. For the Maccabees to clean the temple, they had to keep the sacred menorah burning. Even though there was only enough oil for one night, the fire burned for 8 nights. Oil may not be as popular as it used to be, but it's still an important part of the holiday. In fact, you can taste it in all of the tasty food. The traditional Hanukkah fare is all about oil lax, sufganiyot, which are jelly donuts, and a lot of other foods. It is thought that between 17 and 24 million sufganiyot are eaten during Hanukkah each year in Israel alone. 6. The traditional Hanukkah lamp has different names, depending on where you're from. The traditional Hanukkah candelabra, known as the menorah, has different names depending on the ancestry of the individual. For example, it is called Ashkenazi by Jews of Central or Eastern European descent and Mizrahi by those whose ancestors lived in the Middle East from biblical times to the present day. In the United States, it is commonly referred to as simply a menorah. 5. The traditional Hanukkah lamp has different names, depending on where you're from. Unlike Jewish holidays such as Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, Hanukkah has fewer rules regarding its observance. According to Shabbat, it can start on any day of the week except Tuesday. This is because the month before Kislev, called Cheshvan, can have either 29 or 30 days. This flexibility allows Hanukkah to not fall on the Jewish Sabbath. 4. There are many ways to spell Hanukkah. How do you spell the word Hanukkah? There isn't one though. There are more than 16 correct ways to spell Hanukkah. Hanukkah, the most common spelling, which most people outside of Jewish communities think is correct, doesn't make any sense. The American Library of Congress says that is also the correct way to spell it. But in the spirit of keeping church and state separate, it's important to remember that there are many common spellings that can be made with our 26-letter alphabet. Hanukkah with one NS, Hanukkah with two KS, and Hanukkah with H and one K are some examples. The second one sounds the most like the traditional Hebrew pronunciation, while the official version from the Library of Congress is the closest transliteration to the spelling of the original Hebrew word. There is no right answer, though. The second one sounds the most like the traditional Hebrew pronunciation, while the official version from the Library of Congress is the closest transliteration to the spelling of the original Hebrew word. There is no right answer, though. It means the same thing no matter how you spell it. That's dedication. 3. A Hanukkah bush is not actually a thing. Many Jewish families in North America decorate small trees during Hanukkah, even though it is not a traditional practice. This is because they feel left out as many of their non-Jewish peers are decorating Christmas trees. However, this practice is not traditional and rabbis usually advise against it. 2. It's actually a minor holiday. From a religious point of view, Hanukkah isn't that important on the Hebrew calendar, especially when compared to holidays like Rosh Hashanah, Passover, and Yom Kippur that are set aside as days of rest by the Torah. Still, Hanukkah has become one of the most well-known Jewish holidays. It has always had the same religious meaning. But since the 1800s, its cultural importance has grown by leaps and bounds, especially among American Jewish families. People now often treat it like the Jewish Christmas. But if you feel like you're the only kid in town without a Christmas tree, here's a list of people who are Jewish, just like you and me. Even though that is an oversimplification, the fact that it is a part of the Western holiday season has definitely affected how it has changed over time. You know what the next holiday is, right? Christmas. Yeah. And do you know when the next holiday is? Eve of Christmas. Jewish children used to get small amounts of money or guilt during the holidays to encourage them to study. Today, kids usually get a variety of gifts for Christmas, which is more in line with how people give gifts now. 1. The dreidel, a toy and a tool of resistance. Before the Maccabees reclaimed the temple, the Jews in the region were facing persecution. King Antiochus IV had implemented laws that made it illegal for Jews to practice their religion publicly. As a result, the Jews began secretly studying the Torah and gathering in small groups to discuss and learn. They used dreidels as a cover when soldiers came to check on them, pretending to be playing games. The dreidel became a symbol of their fight to practice their religion in secret. Today, the dreidel is still an important part of the Hanukkah story, inscribed with the Hebrew words, "A great miracle happened here." What are your favorite things about Hanukkah? Let us know in the comments section below. That's all for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more videos from our channel, subscribe and make sure to turn on the bell icon.